is nearly equal to that of the atmospheric pressure on Dragon and inside the station. Lingering will use a small valve that on the station's hatch to slowly introduce air into the station's vestibule. Flight controllers here in Houston will monitor and verify the pressure readings here to make sure that everything's leak-free before we get ready to open up the hatches for the crew. NASA Flight Director Greg Whitney is leading teams here in Mission Control Houston for Dragon's approach and docking today, and it's on the International Space Station, including NASA's Kjell Lindgren, Bob Hines, Jessica Watkins, Frank Rubio, and the current station commander and European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin. Crew 5 bringing the crew complement to 11. Again, we're excited to get our Crew 5 astronauts aboard. That's the latest from here at Mission Control Houston. Back over to you, Hawthorne.
Now at this point in time, waypoint 2 is up next, and that will put Dragon only 20 meters away from the space station. From there, the spacecraft will focus on aligning its docking system with the International Docking Adapter, or as you sometimes hear,
will be receiving its power from the International Space Station. And you can also see some of those small thruster firings as we continue to close in on docking, just making sure everything is precisely aligned and that Dragon is just a little bit later than planned, about 10 minutes from now. Dragon 25. And we did just hear confirmation that Dragon has arrived at waypoint 2.
Once again, we're about 10 minutes away from docking to the International Space Station. We have a great view there on your screen of the forward hatch of Dragon. We can see that docking mechanism, the gray pieces there now exposed, and we have a great shot of it now that Dragon is so close to station.
Station Houston on the Big Loop. Dragon is resuming approach and is go for docking. Monitor per steps 5 and 6. In 1.102, Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copies. Welcome.
And that's the call we wanted to hear. Dragon is go for docking. Just a few meters away from the space station now, but when we are about at the 2-meter point, you may hear a call called CHOP, and that stands for the crew hands-off period. While everything has been done autonomously today so far, when we do hear that call CHOP, it means that any re-rendezvous would need to be done automatically through Dragon, and the crew would not be initiating any of that. We are 16 meters away from the International Space Station. On the left is Crew Dragon Endurance coming in for docking. On the top right with its nose cone deployed is the Crew Dragon Freedom that is currently docked to the International Space Station and is the vehicle that Crew 4 will return home on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see, both two Dragons really in the same shot. Once again, the Crew 5 vehicle there on the left, making its docking approach, which we're expecting in under 10 minutes. And then, of course, the Crew 4 vehicle there on the previous shot on the right-hand side. As we get closer, we can see more and more of the Dragon vehicle. For those of you wondering what those 4 black circles.
Less than 10 meters separating Dragon from the space station.
Copy, 5 meters.
And that call 5 meters separating Dragon from space station. Should be about a minute until we are docked and crew 5 is home for the next few months. Should hear that call for chop here momentarily.
2 meters, chop.
And there it was.
Copy, 2 meters.
2 meters, crew hands off point. Happens about 25 seconds before contact.
1 meter.
1 meter.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop, contact and soft capture complete. Attenuation in progress.
And contact confirmed. Dragon made contact with the International Space Station at 2:01 p.m. Pacific, just off the west coast of Africa.
Now there are still a few steps that Dragon has to complete before it is securely attached to the station. So we are going to walk through those. We're going to have completion of that soft capture ring retraction, and then we're going to begin the hard capture sequence. And then a few minutes after that, some time passes, that we will have completion of that hard docking.
SpaceX Dragon on the big loop for suits.
Dragon, we're with you on suits.
Okay, just letting you know Section 4 is complete, and in Section 5 all suits are drying. We have started the timer. And do we still have Dragon to ground with you, or is this our only compact?
And Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop, we do have Dragon to ground, and I think we should head over there. We're just going to have a lot of probably bothersome calls for the whole ISS crew.
I tried you a couple times on Dragon to ground before this with a no response, but I will switch over and try you again on Dragon to ground.
Copy.
Currently seeing dual boxes, the Dragon Endurance attached to the space station on your left, and that's astronaut Joe lingering inside the International Space Station as he continues preparations for the Crew 5's ingress into the space station. Again, we're looking for ingress to be about 35 minutes from now. Looking at 5:42 p.m. Central Time, 6:42 p.m. Eastern. 5 astronauts will need to work through a few more steps and gather some imagery as well. At the time of hatch open, Dragon and the International Space Station were flying 263 statute miles above the South Atlantic Ocean. It may be just a couple more minutes before Crew 5 astronauts ingress the space station to be welcomed onto an environment with the air inside the Crew Dragon Endurance. They'll seal some of the LiO or lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrubbed carbon dioxide inside of Dragon capsule on the ride to the International Space Station, and they'll check some vent valves as well, so maybe just a little bit more time until we welcome them on board the International Space Station. And here we come through. First one through the hatch is going to be Nicole Mann, commander of Dragon, and now the first Native American woman to live and stay aboard the International Space Station. All hugs and smiles going around. Next one through the hatch is Josh Cassada, the pilot of Dragon. He's getting his welcome and hellos from the crew aboard the International Space Station. And we see right now, right past Nicole Mann's hair, is Koichi Wakata of JAXA coming through the hatch. And last but not least, Anna Kikina of Roscosmos just entered the International Space Station, and Crew 5 is officially ingress from Dragon Endurance into their home for the next 6 months, the International Space Station. With the addition of Crew 5 on board, there is currently 11 astronauts inside the International Space Station. Finishing up some of those procedures to make Dragon ready for their 6-month stay docked to the International Space Station. We are expecting a welcoming ceremony around 7:15 p.m. Central Time. We'll have a brief intermission between the ingress of the crew as they unload that critical science and hardware from Dragon Endurance into the International Space Station. Again, we're expecting a welcome event for the crew around 7:15 p.m. Central Time, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time.